Keeping it for 38 years, it really surprises me. It was the first Porsche that I bought, and so that probably has something to do with it. And it could be the fact that over the years, a lot of the cars that I've owned, people really were trying to buy them from me. Well, this one, not as many people have really tried to buy it from me. It's just kind of been in the family. My name is Jack Griffin. I drive a Porsche 914-6 that I've owned for 38 years. It was in 1976 when I bought it. It was in fantastic condition. It was 6 years old. Because it's a 914-6, it's relatively rare, considerably faster than the four-cylinder version. It has a 911 engine. It's a mid-engine configuration, which makes the handling so phenomenal. And it's a really light feeling, because it is light. It only weighs 2,000 pounds. Really a blast to drive. My 914 has had a different engine put in it, increasing to the 2.5-liter motor with over 200 horsepower, made it a really, really fun car. The 914 is very predictable. It's almost like a high-powered go-kart. The handling is really phenomenal. You can virtually go at some pretty insane speed, make a 90-degree turn, and it's really pretty solid. I've scared plenty of people going around corners in it. I guess my favorite thing about the car is how rare it is. When I do drive it, most often I hear things like, oh, I remember those back in the day, and that's a 6, that's really special. The looks of it have not really been very exciting for most people. There's sort of an odd look. I do like the looks, although I can't say it's beautiful, it's just interesting. Growing up, my dad was an auto mechanic, and our family car was a Volkswagen Bug. About 1961, he traded for a 1956 Porsche 356A. And in a lot of respects, it was like a Volkswagen, only it was like a Volkswagen race car. When I drove that 356 with twice the horsepower of a Volkswagen Bug, I was absolutely hooked. And I sort of said to myself, someday I'm going to have a Porsche. I've had quite a few 911s. I've had 2 930s. Probably have had 20 356s. I had 2 Roadsters. I had a convertible D. Did a stint as a race car driver and owned a 911, a factory RSR race car. A friend of mine who had a number of years of racing experience invited me to go to Daytona to watch him race in 1983 in the Daytona 24-hour. Being in the pit and watching the cars go around the track looked fairly easy to me. And toward the end of the weekend, he asked me what I thought of the experience, and I told him that I thought it looked like a lot of fun. And he then asked if I would like to do it. So he said, well, the next race is the 12 Hours of Sebring, and they had a car for me to drive, and all I need to do is go to a racing school and get a license. So I went to Bondurant Racing School, a 4-day school, and we did not drive race cars. We drove Datsun 280Zs. It was better than nothing, but it wasn't nearly enough to prepare me to actually race in a race of that magnitude. Racing the 914 in Sebring was my first race. The car belonged to a friend of mine. I'd never driven a race car, nor had I even sat in a race car before arriving at Sebring to drive. When I got on the track in the 914 and I saw the speeds and the other cars, it didn't take me many laps to realize I had miscalculated how difficult it was going to be. After 15 laps, I crashed actually into a concrete wall. That was a real bad ending to my beginning of racing. There's this conception that the 914-6 is really, really a fast car, when in reality, the original stock 914.6 had the least powerful 911 motor at the time. And so a lot of people changed the motors, a lot of people modified, and there probably are not very many stock 914.6s remaining.